Hello everyone and welcome to this live Space Week event, a live Q&A with Dr. Norah Patten here at Explorium.
Hello, how's it going?
So we have had loads of questions.
We so have, yeah.
Absolutely loads of questions which we're super excited to get to. And thank you all for tuning in. And we're going to try and give as many shout outs as we can because we are live. So in the comments, when you join us, pop in the comments, say hello. We'd love to say hello. We'll try to give you a shout out, and you can either, if you have a question, pop it in the live comments, but we also have bucket loads of questions that were sent in beforehand. So we're going to try and get through as many as possible. I'm excited.
Oh, totally. I can't wait. And just to say a massive thanks to everyone who sent in their questions. As Mark said, we'll get through as many as we possibly can today. We've had a huge reaction, so I'm really excited. Because
it's a very awesome week. This week, one of our favourite weeks, it's Space Week.
It's definitely one of my favourite weeks anyway.
So there are so many awesome events on the Space Week website, and we got some goodies sent down to us from the Space Week guys and the guys at Blackrock Castle Observatory as well, so thank you for them. We'll show them a little later too. But we've so many questions. We've got loads of people joining us, so big shout out to all the school from St. Columkills in Knockline. We've got Newport in Mayo, your hometown. We've got people joining us from Cork, in Chicor. Is that Atlanta? Oh no, Atlatica in Limerick. Atlanta,
Hello,
Limerick. Bit different. We've got schools from the UK. We've got people joining us from all over the world. So hello to everyone and thanks for joining us. So this is going to be fun.
Yes.
And we can't wait to get through them. Let's bash right into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
I think we could be here till 3 o'clock if we wanted, but
let's blast off.
We've loads of great questions actually, yeah.
So we're going to start off with, the first question comes to us from Aoife McGranahan, and she's a big fan, by the way. She wanted to let you know that. And she's 10 and from St. Mary's Primary School in Strabane, County Tyrone. And she'd like to ask, what personal items would you take to space?
So hello Aoife and everyone in Strabane watching. So personal items I take to space. So I've gotten asked this quite a few times, and what I'd love to do is when my space flight does come around, I'll open it up to young people in Ireland to design me something to take to space with me as a representation for Ireland. So whether that be like a mission patch or a picture or a logo or whatever it might be, I'd love to take some Irish stuff with me that really represents everybody here. Awesome. So that's definitely something I would take to space. But yeah, I take like pictures of my family and my husband and the people that I love. A camera, like most definitely. Imagine all those amazing images and pictures. Yeah, so it depends on the size of my personal bag and how much I can take.
Yeah. You're going to have loads of things now. They're like, Norah, you can't get on with all that stuff.
It'll be like half the bag. But yeah,
that's
great
really cool.
question. Yeah.
So you're going to give guys a chance to design something that
I definitely will. And
wow,
I've often been
really
asked like, what would be the first words you'd say in space? And I think that has to be something also left up to the people in Ireland to decide what that is.
Do you have an idea? Do you know?
Not yet, I'll throw that out there.
Okay.
Maybe they can write in and give us some examples of what they'd like to be the first Irish person in space. What would they like the first words to be?
It'd have to be Oscailga, wouldn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But that's something you guys can think about and work on. Yeah, what a cool idea. Yeah. So Aoife, thanks so much for your question. We've got another question from Sabella Nielsen, aged 8, and she asks, what advice would you give to an inspired space adventurer?
Yes. So there is so many opportunities to get involved in space. If you think about space, there are so many careers that feed into this sector, technology, engineering, there's so many layers to it, food, like there's loads and loads of layers. So what I would say is what I was told, from astronauts, follow your love of what you want to do, and that will help you progress. So whether it's science or engineering or technology or whatever it is, when you love what you're doing, you'll want to find out more about it. So I think that was really good advice that has been told to me. So that's what I would say to people watching.
And I think pictures always inspire me as well. And you've got some pictures here that we can show them back at home as well. So here's some pictures of your adventures.
Yeah, so you know, when I speak about loads of opportunities, there are absolutely ways to get involved. This picture here is a picture taken in Kennedy Space Center almost 10 years ago, actually, when we got to see the space shuttle after its final flight. So I've been a part of the International Space University since 2010, and that has opened so many doors. You know, internationally, I've been able to bring things back home and meet so many international people. So for young people, I would say there's so many opportunities there if you want to get involved in the space sector.
This is an awesome photo as well. Launched director.
Yeah, I love that one. So we got to do like VIP tours of NASA Kennedy and see the rockets and see behind the scenes. So there's loads of ways you can get involved. So that's why I wanted to show those couple of photos to say it's possible.
Awesome, and thank you for all those who are starting to tune in. We've got so many. We've got Daithí Fitzpatrick, hello to you guys. We've got Joanne McCormick, Conor O'Malley, Roisin Walsh from all over, Colin Kills, St. Francis in Dublin, Knockmore, Lisa Niska, what an awesome name, National School, Knockmore, County Mayo. So many of you guys joining us, so a big hello to everyone. Miss Brennan, hello to from all the guys in 5th class, the girls' school in Schoolmurra in Oranmore, County Galway. They're so excited, we are too.
I know.
And, they want you to know that you are out of this world and a role model for all the girls in the school.
Yeah,
thanks
it's great
so much,
to
guys.
have you all tuning in. So
Keep
thanks
the
for tuning
comments
in.
coming in. So we have another question now from Danny from 3rd class in Divine Word National School, who'd like to know, is there a minimum or maximum age for travelling to space?
Yeah, so when you're going through the likes of NASA or the European Space Agency as an astronaut through their selection process, typically the kind of broad age range that they look for is 27 to 37 years of age. But with this dawn of, you know, this evolution of commercial space, which is where really I'm trying to get a seat on a commercial space flight, there's going to be much more flexibility in terms of the age. So as long as you're physically fit. But in saying that, you know, once you get picked with ESA or NASA, it takes many years after you get selected to do the training and to get prepared to go to space. So even though you might be 37, 38 getting selected, you could easily be in your 40s by the time you actually fly to space. Okay,
so I doubt they'll send a minimum age. I don't think there's any, maybe no 8-year-olds heading up to space, just quite yet.
Not yet.
So I know the young people are getting more advanced these days, so you never know. You could be the youngest person in space.
Yeah.
So best of luck on your space adventures, Danny. We have another question coming in here from Sean from 6th class, from your same school actually, who would like to know, are there any types of exams or tests you need to pass to be able to go to space?
Yeah, so the UK astronaut Tim Peake has a great book actually about the mental tests that you're put through, like the maths questions and the spatial awareness. So how do you fit puzzles together? So like your Lego is a great, you know, practice for how you can piece things together. So he has a really good book that outlines and it gives examples, and you can actually practice those kinds of maths questions and, you know, questions you might be asked in a written exam. But obviously the physical training as well, and it's something that I've got to experience with Possum, which has been amazing. They do loads of different types of physical training and testing. So for example, they do high G training, so that's like in a rocket launch. Yeah, very cool.
Very cool.
Like when you're launching to space in your rocket and it's blasting off from the launch pad, it's kind of like if any of you have been on a roller coaster and you know the way the roller coaster takes off and it like pushes you back into the seat. It's a kind of similar force, you know, experience that you have. So the astronauts would do this typically in a centrifuge, which they sit in and it spins them round and round, and they get to experience those forces. So that's just one example.
Sean, I had this very same question because I was so interested in what you need to do and to see if I had what it takes to be an astronaut. So you actually showed me some of the types of training and took me through some of the training that you'd have to do to get to space, and we did that during space camp, didn't we?
We absolutely did, and it was so much fun. So we took, actually here in Explorium they have the G-Force bike, so I put Mark to the test to see how he would fare out in a high G bike.
Yeah, you put me through a lot of tests.
And we even did rally driving, which was really cool.
Yeah, we did a lot of things that would potentially test your kind of physical limits. Maybe you might feel a little ill, feel like puking a little bit as well. But I think I'm ready to take it to the next level. But we had so much fun at Space Camp, which you can all check out as well. That's Family Space Camp that we had the pleasure of doing, which was absolutely awesome, wasn't it? It was so much fun.
So much fun.
So we've 5 episodes of awesome space adventures that tell you all different aspects of what you need to do to get to space. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but excellent question, Sean. And again, it's hard to keep track of the comments, Nora, they're just flying in. But thank you all so much. We're going to try and give you all a shout out if possible, but it's very difficult. There's just loads coming in. Hello to Miss Dunphy, we've got Ruth Gray, we've got Aisling Timmons, Conor O'Malley, Jack McGarry. Miss Dunphy, again, thank you so much all for tuning in and for the comments as well. We're going to try and get through as many as possible. So we have another question now from Pat Leahy from Cork, who's 8. From Gale School Gert Allen, and would like to know, how long is an average spacewalk, or EVA?
Yeah, so an EVA, so that's extravehicular activity. So when you come outside the spacecraft.
Nice.
So if you think about like the International Space Station, it's their home in space. It needs repairs. So from time to time they have to go outside and fix panels or replace batteries or whatever it might be. So a typical EVA lasts a few hours. The longest one lasted about 9 hours. So if you think about it,
it's a long time.
It is a long time, like 9 hours, I think. So 7-8 hours is typically the amount of time they'd spend outside. But they don't have a toilet.
That's what I was going to ask. That was literally on my mind. That's what I was thinking. When you said 8-9 hours, I was like, you got to do a lot of things in 8-9 hours. Like, okay.
So they wear, it's called a maximum absorbency garment. So it's a MAG.
Oh, maximum absorbency. Okay.
It's essentially an adult nappy.
Yeah,
is
very
what they
essential
wear
indeed.
outside. So good question and a good thought of how it really is in going to space.
Yeah, and we have to say that a huge majority of the questions that came in were toilet related. So it's obviously a big concern for everyone to find out, how does one go to the toilet in space? I know we've had that question come to me from most of my friends, which I think says a lot for the type of people who I call friends, but a lot of interest in toilet procedures. So care to talk to us a little bit about that, Norah?
I suppose I often get asked that question because it's, we're curious on how things work, and I think toilets in space do not operate the same as toilets here on Earth, because in space everything is floating, so including your pee-pee will float. So what they have is they have a little tube, and it sucks the pee in as the astronaut goes to the toilet. So it's very different up there. So I think it's a good question, because when you're designing for space, you have to think, well, everything floats.
A very topical question too, because NASA have just launched a new toilet to the International Space Station, and it only happened. It arrived last Monday. A couple of days ago. This article just made me laugh so much. So it's a new toilet that costs 23 million. It's a 23 million euro toilet that they've sent to the space station, and yes, it sucks waste from the body. I found this hilarious. So the toilet's vacuum system was designed for the comfort of the female astronauts, and on board will be the Universal Waste Management System, or UMS, which can sound a lot like the noise you'd make on the toilet. It's a titanium space toilet, and NASA says it will help astronauts boldly go during deep space missions. So absolutely brilliant. But yes, it sucks waste away from the body in a zero gravity environment. So, and NASA spent a lot of time working on that with the crew members, testing it out. And let's hope they have a successful dry run. Full of puns. But awesome question. And we have another question here then from Cameron Beaton, who's 11 from Tipperary, and he wants to know, what do you think will be the favourite part of your space mission? What will it be?
Hello, Cameron. Favorite part? Geez, I think it's really hard to pick just one, because what I've learned through POSSUM, that's the citizen science program that I'm doing to prepare to get to space. Every time I do a program with them, I think, oh, that was my favorite. No, that was my favorite. So I've got to do lots of different space training with POSSUM. For example, I've done the microgravity flights, so that's where you float weightless.
Cool.
So I've got to fly as a researcher and actually fly in this weightless environment with experiments. So that was just amazing. We've also done the high G flights. So as well, the astronauts can do it in the centrifuge, which is the machine that spins them around.
Cool, yeah.
But we got to do them in an acrobatic plane.
Wow.
So it's like a plane that can do different maneuvers, and then you experience those
forces.
Exactly.
Okay.
And also like spacesuit testing, so we get to test a spacesuit. So I think it's really, really hard for me to pick one thing, because I've loved so many.
There's so many exciting parts of it, isn't there? That's really cool. Thanks, Cameron, for your question. We've another question here from Adam, who's 13, from School Mura, and he asks, why have astronauts not travelled further than low Earth orbit since the moon landing?
Yeah, so thanks, Adam, for your question. So yeah, it's been many years since they've sent humans to the moon. And you're absolutely right. Humans have been in low Earth orbit, so the International Space Station is in low Earth orbit. And the really cool thing is that next month we'll be celebrating 20 continuous years of humans living in space. So maybe we can have a space party or something next month to celebrate that.
Totally having a space party.
Totally, but so there's big talk about that, 20 years continuously living in space, which is amazing. But at the moment, NASA and ESA and the space agencies are preparing to send humans back to the moon. So they're working on a new rocket and on a new capsule for the astronauts, and they're doing many different tests on them at the moment. And the plan is by 2024 that we'll have the first woman and the next man to step foot on the moon. So watch this space.
Yeah, exciting times ahead.
Yes,
absolutely. So the next question comes to us from Will from Cleveland, Ohio, who was 10. Who was 10? I assume Will, I think we were all 10, because Will is actually your cousin. Is Will still 10?
Will is my cousin. Hi, Will.
All the way from Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. He's got a question for you, and he has the same question as Mason Murphy, who's age 5, from junior infants in Tuam, Educate Together National School in Galway. So same question from both, asked, what is your favourite planet and why?
So hello, Mason and Will. So the planets.
Which one is it, Norah? Which is your favourite planet?
I often get asked this, actually. I think for me, I love the moons of the planets. When you look at the moons, like for example...
Put these away then, will I?
Io, which is a moon of Jupiter, has some really cool volcanic activity because it's been pulled and stretched by the huge planet that is Jupiter. So for me, I think the moons are really interesting.
We've got so many awesomes. I wanted to give a shout out again to everyone. We've got Joshua Corcoran, John Devaney, Ruth Gray, Orla O'Toole. Big shout out to all you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks for your questions and your comments as well. We got one from Mary O'Donnell. Would you want to be the first woman on the moon?
Oh, hello, Mary. So for me right now, my target is to get a suborbital space flight, so commercial suborbital. So it's a plane, the rocket that goes into space and comes back down. Obviously, if other opportunities like going to the International Space Station was possible, I would jump at it. So.
When you get launched at it.
I'd launch at it, exactly.
So we've got another question from Ayla, age 7, and Eve, age 5, and they're from Leixlip, who love your book, they want you to know, and they want to ask you, where in Ireland is the best place to look at the stars? One of my favourite things to do.
Yes, that's a really good question. So thanks, guys, for that. The dark sky parks in Ireland, and we have some magnificent dark sky parks in Ireland. There's one in Kerry and also one in Mayo, and Lochgar in County Limerick is also a beautiful place to go stargazing. So if you look for a dark sky park, they have very low light pollution is what it's called. So you know, when we're in our towns at night, you have the lights on the side of the street, and all of those lights at night make it more difficult to see the stars. So these dark skies have a very low level of this light pollution, and it makes it really, really good to go and do stargazing. So Ireland is a great place when there's no clouds, of course.
Yes, of course.
You know,
one of my favourite things to do is to look up at the stars as well, though. Absolutely awesome. But of course, living in Dublin, you can suffer from the light pollution.
Exactly.
You can. I love being able to see Saturn and Jupiter, who've been very clear over the past few months, and Mars. It has its closest point to us since that it will be until 2035,
which is
so very
cool.
close. Yeah,
and
really
you can see the International Space Station as well, flying overhead. So it's
lots
really
of cool
cool.
things to see. One of my favourite things to do. But yeah, I'd love. Sometimes you go down to Wicklow to check out those meteor showers. Just that extra bit of darkness helps, doesn't it?
Massively. So that's a good question.
Yeah, big fan
Maybe
of
something
that
to
activity.
do in the next few months.
Yeah, absolutely.
If possible.
So we have got so many schools joining us. A big shout out and a big hello to all of you guys. We've got so many coming in, so thanks all for joining us. It's hard to keep track. There's a massive amount, but thank you all for joining us. We're really, really happy that you're here to share this Space Week event with us. And we have a few questions coming to us next from your home county. So we've got lots of questions from Currabagan National School in Mayo. There's so many questions here. And the big fans of you down there, big fans. And they've actually sent in a class photo as well that we'd like to show. So thanks for sending this in, everyone.
Hello, Currabagan, and hello to Shona, who's the teacher there. She's a primary school friend of mine, actually. So this is lovely to see their class.
And we actually have what is absolutely awesome. We've got sent in this beautiful card too from Callum, actually. Yeah,
so a huge shout out, Callum. My nephew is in Currabagan School, and I thought this would be lovely to show. He created this lovely card for me a few months ago, and I thought it'd be lovely to show and maybe make a suggestion to teachers, seeing as it's Space Week and seeing as it's Friday. Maybe you could design some space cards to bring home as your afternoon activity today.
That is awesome. I'm doing that activity. I'm doing that too.
I might do it myself too.
Now, they have asked you loads of questions. So we have a question from Shanessa McGovern, who asks, if you put two magnets close to each other in space, would they connect or would they just fly away? An awesome question.
Absolutely. So the short answer is yes, they do connect. And there's actually a really good video of this on YouTube about two magnets and how they connect in space and they align with the Earth's magnetic field.
Okay, cool. So we're going to try and get through a few more questions here. Time is flying.
It absolutely
we'll try and get through as many as possible. So we have a few people in the class. We've got Katie, Patrick, James, Molly, Rihanna, James, and Aoife, who all want to ask about food in space.
Yes.
What kind of food do you eat in space?
So food in space is actually one of my favourite topics to think of. Excellent. So a colleague of mine at the European Space Agency sent me over these as example space foods. So these are actually space foods that have been designed to send to space with the astronauts. So they use, some of the astronauts get to work with they get to work with chefs to design their own space food. But if you think again about things in space, it floats. So you have to think about, crumbly breads and crumbly foods are going to be bad because the crumbs will fly away. You have to think about the long-termness of the food. So how stable is the food? So tin stuff they use, but they are heavy. I have a bread pudding with plums.
Oh, like a dessert?
Yeah, like a sweet
nice.
thing.
And I've got salmon with candied menton lemon.
So yeah, the astronauts do get to design some of their own foods.
I'd love to taste it.
Yeah.
We'll dig in later.
Yes.
We'll dig in later. We've got a question from Tom Ruan, who wants to know, if you spill water in space, what will happen?
Yeah, so again, like water in space does not behave the same way as it does here on Earth. So if you have a bottle, like a bottle of water, you know it goes to the bottom of the bottle. But in space it floats, it sticks to the side, it sticks to surfaces, so it forms little balls of water. So you need to have straws. You can't just, drink from a cup the same way you would. So the water, if you push out a little glob of water, it becomes a ball.
And then you can just hop.
Exactly.
Rihanna Langan asked us a very important question. Is there internet in space?
There is internet in space.
Score!
Yes.
I'll go. That's fine. I just wanted to know that. I'll go. It's fine. I'll go.
It's great because you can follow a lot of the astronauts on social media, and they're sending pictures and comments and updates from the space station. So they do have internet on the space station.
Okay. And we have a question then from James McLaughlin, and he's from 3rd class in St. Kevin's Girls National School. We have another question from St. Kevin's Girls National School. Same question. What is it like in zero gravity?
Okay, it's amazing. I think we have a little video to show.
We do indeed.
So this will be perfect. So I got to fly, as I was saying a bit earlier, as a researcher on one of these flights. You can see everything floating. It's absolutely incredible as an experience. They call it the vomit comet because a lot of people,
Vomit!
And actually, in my flight suit, this is funny, I forgot about this. I have, from when I was doing the flights, this is actually a sick bag.
Oh, unused,
So,
I'll let you know, unused.
I didn't need it, thank God, but they do tell you if you're going to get sick.
I could have done with that during space camp. You didn't tell me you had that.
I had it.
Keeping her sick bags to herself. So big shout out again to everyone from Newport National School in County Mayo. Thank you all so much for your questions. Gurgley in 2nd class would like you just to know that you're his favourite astronaut.
Thank you.
That's great. And we've got questions from 2 women named Grace in Newport National School and Isabel Leahy in 5th class in Schoolmurra, Mount Sackville. And they'd like to know why you love space so much and why do you really want to be an astronaut?
Okay, so when I was actually in national school, so year age actually, I got to go and visit NASA, and I suppose just having that opportunity to go and see something totally different, I became space obsessed. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. But space has absolutely evolved, and there's so many different ways to be part of this space community. And now, like, having this opportunity to do space training with Possum and, the possibility of actually getting to space, it's something that I've wanted for, since I was very, very young.
Absolutely awesome. So many more questions. We're going to get through a few more in the time we have left. We've got Joseph and Alyssa in Newport and Jamie and Sean from Ballinlaig National School who'd like to know, what is astronaut training like?
Astronaut training is amazing, actually.
I'll show some photos as well. We've got some cool photos as well, haven't we?
So we've got to do spacesuit testing. We've got to do loads of different, hands-on training. So it's amazing, and the high-G flights and all of those kind of things. So I can't wait to actually go to space.
This is you going up on a high-G flight?
That's me going on a high-G flight, exactly. Nice. Yeah, exactly.
Looking nice and all happy before you went up, or is this after? Before or after?
That's before, but I didn't feel sick, thank God. So yeah, it was great. It was amazing. Yeah.
So we've got so many other schools that have tuned in as well. We've got another question, maybe final question from Brandon from 6th class in Ballinlaig National School as well, who'd like to know, would your head really explode if you took off your helmet in space? See what's on your mind, Brandon.
The short answer is no, it wouldn't. But you would not last very long. in space without a suit, because we're not, the air inside your lungs and body would expand, so you'd balloon and you wouldn't last very long. It
wouldn't be a very good
nice.
idea.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a great idea. So big shout out to everyone as well who's tuning in. Thank you all so much for joining us. Nora, I know there are a lot of people you need to say hello to as well, because we've had such an awesome reaction to this Q&A, and we really loved all of your questions as well. So there's been so many, and apologies we can't get to all of them at the moment, but we want to give some special shout outs as well.
Exactly, and thanks again to everyone. I've seen Inchicore National School are tuned in there. 4th class in Arthlaca National School, County Limerick. So Limerick is, hello, my second home. 1st class in Scartlee National School, County Cork. 3rd and 4th class in Our Lady of Lourdes National School in Bunclody. 2nd class in 6 Mile Bridge. 3rd class in Skullcree Primary School. And there's also Patrick, aged 7, him and his classmates are tuning in Millfields Primary School in Essex in the UK. So hello, and I see hello from room 8 in Skull, Wirra, Glon, Small in Inchicore. So hello again, Inchicore.
There's people
so
joining
many.
us from all over the world as well.
It's brilliant.
So,
thanks so much for all the.
Thank you all for joining us. And just to remind you as well that there are lots of awesome events on the Space Week website, so you can check out some really cool events. Here are just some that you can get involved in, and there are awesome resources as well that you can also get and download from your for your school or for use in the classroom or from home as well. We got this awesome moon calendar, which I really love as well, sent to us from the wonderful people organising Space Week at Blackrock Castle Observatory. So they sent us this and a few Space Week goodies. There are bookmarks, there are some awesome postcards as well. So thank you, you've helped us celebrate Space Week here at Explorium as well. And there are other things you can watch and other things you can do. One of the coolest things that we've got a chance to do is the family space camp.
Yeah. So definitely, if teachers or parents are wanting something extra to do next week, this is a 5-episode series and it's available online to tune in. So if you want to watch it,
absolutely.
I'm going
to show them all a
trailer.
A little teaser, just to check out. So we did so many things exploring space, lots of activities and challenges and things that you can do. Ooh, it was quite explosive at times as well. That was the bike. This was absolutely awesome. Trying to recreate those G-forces, launching rockets.
It was brilliant.
There was so much to do. So there are 5 episodes available on the Irish Times website that you can go on and check out. And half-an-hour episodes, and they're really fun. But we'd like to again thank you all for joining us. Thank you for all your questions, and thanks for joining us here live at Explorium. Nora, you've filled me with lots of cool things to think about. Awesome questions, by the way, really curious, great kind of observation questions about going to space, and perhaps some of our future astronauts and space travelers are watching from their homes or their classrooms right now.
And before we go, I also, in my book, Shooting for the Stars, I answer a load of your space questions. And right now, because it's Space Week, we have a really cool space pack with signed astronaut goodies to give away. So if you want an opportunity to win those packs, you can go to Instagram or Twitter at Space Norah and you can enter there.
Absolutely awesome.
A nice little space pack to win.
I would like to win it too. Just as we were going to go, a question, I'm like, interesting, that I want to know as well. We've got Igor Saigan in 2nd year, Closh de Ballyclore asks, do you and the other crew members, would they play space pranks on each other?
I'm sure they do. I mean,
the
astronauts who I've met over the years are such lovely people. They're fun, they're great people. So I'd say they do have, even when Chris Hatfield is talking about space, he says it's fun, So I'm sure they have great fun up there as well as doing their work.
Absolutely. So guys, again, thank you to everyone who joined us here for the live Q&A. And Norah, thank you as well for giving us awesome answers.
Mark is definitely the best co-host. So, and let us know if you want us to do more of these.
Absolutely, yes, please do. You can engage with us on the various social media platforms. Let us know what you thought. If you have any other questions, we might be able to get back to. And I hope everyone has a fantastic Space Week. And thanks again to everyone for joining us. We're signing out from Space Week Live. Thank you, Norah. Thanks again. Thanks for everyone,
guys.
and happy Space Week.
Happy Space Week.